NEC Article 250.146 provides requirements for isolated ground systems. The purpose is to minimize electrical noise and interference in sensitive electronic equipment. This is often applied in grounding electrical systems in medical facilities, sound systems, and other applications where noise reduction is critical. A correct schematic diagram should include the following. Firstly, connect the isolated ground electrode, typically a copper-plated ground rod, to the isolated ground bus in the transformer enclosure. Secondly, connect the isolated ground bus to the isolated ground terminal in the panel board. Thirdly, connect the equipment grounding conductors from the sound system components to the isolated ground terminal in the panel board. The specific NEC requirements for isolating the ground of a sound system are found in NEC Article 640.13c. This states that sound systems shall be grounded, as specified in Article 250, Part 6. NEC Article 250.146 further states that isolated grounding systems may be used for medical equipment and sound systems. Additional considerations for an isolated ground system may include that it should be separate from the building's main grounding system. All equipment connected to the isolated ground system should have double insulation or be otherwise protected from ground faults. It is important to ensure that the equipment is properly bonded to the isolated ground system. Isolated ground systems are less common than typical grounding systems, so understanding their purpose and requirements is key to proper installation. Isolated grounds are implemented to provide a cleaner, less noisy ground reference for sensitive electronic equipment. The standard equipment grounding system connects all metallic enclosures and non-current carrying metal parts back to the service entrance, providing a low impedance path for fault current to flow, facilitating the operation of overcurrent protective devices like circuit breakers or fuses. However, this path can also carry unwanted electrical noise, such as electromagnetic interference, or ME, and radio frequency interference, or RFI, which can negatively impact the performance of sensitive equipment. An isolated ground system aims to mitigate these issues by providing a separate grounding path that is isolated from the regular equipment grounding system. This separate path connects directly back to the neutral grounding point, typically at the service entrance or a separately derived system like a transformer, minimizing the noise coupled into the ground reference of sensitive equipment. Article 250 covers the general requirements for grounding and bonding. Section 250.146 specifically addresses the use of isolated ground receptacles. While the question pertains to an entire isolated ground system, the principles outlined in the section are relevant. It permits the use of isolated ground receptacles under certain conditions, emphasizing that the grounding contact of the receptacle must be insulated from the box and other grounding conductors. The isolated grounding conductor must then be run directly back to the grounding electrode conductor point. Article 640 addresses the specific requirements for audio signal processing, amplification, and reproduction equipment. Section 640.13c, as mentioned, references Article 250 for grounding requirements. This means that while Article 640 doesn't provide specific rules for isolated grounds and sound systems, it refers to the general grounding and bonding requirements outlined in Article 250, including the provisions for isolated grounds. An isolated ground system typically involves several key components. Firstly, an isolated ground receptacle. These receptacles have an orange triangle marking to indicate they are part of an isolated ground system. The grounding contact is electrically isolated from the metal box and the regular equipment grounding conductor. Secondly, an isolated grounding conductor. This is a dedicated grounding wire, usually green with a yellow stripe, that runs from the isolated ground receptacle back to the grounding electrode conductor point. It should be insulated along its entire length. Thirdly, a grounding electrode conductor point. This is the point where the isolated grounding conductor connects to the main grounding system. Typically, it is at the service entrance, the neutral bus in the main panel, or the grounding bus in a separately derived system. The isolated ground system must be properly installed and maintained to be effective. Firstly, the isolated grounding conductor should be run separately from other grounding conductors and should not come into contact with any metallic surfaces along its path. Secondly, all components connected to the isolated ground system should be properly bonded together to ensure a common ground reference. Thirdly, regular inspections and testing should be performed to verify the integrity of the isolated ground system. Several situations may warrant the use of an isolated ground system. Firstly, sensitive electronic equipment. This includes equipment like computers, audio equipment, video equipment, and laboratory instruments that are susceptible to electrical noise. Secondly, medical facilities. Hospitals and clinics often use isolated ground systems to protect sensitive medical equipment and ensure patient safety. Thirdly, industrial environments. Factories and manufacturing plants may use isolated ground systems to protect sensitive control systems and automation equipment. While isolated ground systems can be effective in reducing electrical noise, they also have some limitations. Firstly, cost. Isolated ground systems can be more expensive to install than regular grounding systems due to the need for specialized components and wiring. Secondly, complexity. Isolated ground systems can be more complex to design and install, requiring careful planning and attention to detail. Thirdly, potential for ground loops. If not properly installed, isolated ground systems can create ground loops, which can actually increase electrical noise. Some best practices can ensure the effectiveness and safety of isolated ground systems. Firstly, proper planning. Carefully plan the isolated ground system before installation, taking into account the specific needs of the equipment being protected. Secondly, qualified personnel. Use qualified electricians and technicians to install and maintain the isolated ground system. Thirdly, thorough testing. Test the isolated ground system after installation to verify its effectiveness and identify any potential problems. The NEC provides specific guidelines for grounding and bonding to ensure electrical safety. Article 250 outlines the general requirements for grounding and bonding, while other articles address specific applications. These guidelines aim to minimize the risk of electrical shock and fire by providing a low impedance path for fault current to flow. Grounding refers to connecting electrical equipment and systems to the earth, providing a reference point for voltage and a path for fault current to flow back to the source. Bonding refers to connecting all metallic parts of an electrical system together to create a common ground reference. Grounding and bonding are essential for electrical safety. A properly grounded and bonded system can prevent electrical shock by providing a low impedance path for fault current to flow back to the source, causing the overcurrent protective device to trip and energize the circuit. A properly grounded and bonded system can also reduce the risk of fire by preventing the buildup of static electricity and providing a path for fault current to flow, preventing arcing and overheating. Article 250 covers various aspects of grounding and bonding, including grounding electrode systems, equipment grounding conductors, and bonding requirements. It provides detailed guidelines for selecting and installing grounding electrodes, sizing grounding conductors, and bonding metallic parts of an electrical system. Several common mistakes can compromise the effectiveness of grounding and bonding systems. Firstly, improper grounding electrode installation. The grounding electrode must be properly installed to provide a low impedance connection to the earth. Secondly, undersized grounding conductors. Grounding conductors must be sized according to the NEC to provide a sufficient path for fault current to flow. Thirdly, loose connections. All grounding and bonding connections must be tight and secure to ensure a continuous path for fault current to flow. Regular inspections and maintenance can help ensure the effectiveness of grounding and bonding systems. Visual inspections can identify loose connections, damaged conductors, and other potential problems. Testing can verify the integrity of the grounding system and identify any high impedance connections. It is important to correct any identified problems promptly to maintain the safety and reliability of the electrical system. In the context of sound systems, isolated grounds are particularly important due to the sensitivity of audio equipment to electrical noise. Noise can manifest as hum, buzz, or other unwanted sounds, degrading the audio quality. Implementing an isolated ground system can significantly reduce this noise, resulting in a cleaner, more professional sound. The isolated ground system in a sound system typically involves isolating the grounding conductors of the audio equipment from the regular equipment grounding system. This is achieved by using isolated ground receptacles and running dedicated isolated grounding conductors back to the grounding electrode conductor point. All audio equipment, including mixers, amplifiers, speakers, and signal processors, should be connected to the isolated ground system. In addition to isolated grounds, other techniques can be used to minimize electrical noise in sound systems. Firstly, balanced audio cables. Balanced cables use 3 conductors to transmit the audio signal, providing common mode noise rejection. Secondly, proper cable shielding. Shielded cables help to block electromagnetic interference from entering the audio signal. Thirdly, power line filters. Power line filters can remove noise from the AC power supply, preventing it from entering the audio equipment. Electrical noise can have various negative effects on sound systems. Firstly, degraded audio quality. Noise can mask subtle details in the audio signal, resulting in a less clear and less accurate sound. Secondly, reduced dynamic range. Noise can limit the dynamic range of the audio system, making it difficult to hear both quiet and loud sounds. Thirdly, equipment malfunction. In extreme cases, electrical noise can damage audio equipment. Troubleshooting noise problems in sound systems can be challenging, but some basic steps can help. Firstly, identify the source of the noise. Try disconnecting different pieces of equipment to see if the noise disappears. Secondly, check the grounding connections. Make sure all grounding connections are tight and secure. Thirdly, use a multimeter to measure the voltage between different grounding points. Excessive voltage differences can indicate a ground loop. Understanding the principles of isolated ground systems and their application in sound systems is essential for audio professionals and anyone working with sensitive electronic equipment. By following the guidelines and best practices outlined in the NEC and other resources, it is possible to create a clean, noise-free grounding environment for optimal performance and safety. Remember that isolated grounding is not a substitute for proper wiring practices and a well-designed electrical system. It is a supplementary measure that can be used to further reduce electrical noise in sensitive applications. Always consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer when designing and installing isolated ground systems. They can assess the specific needs of the application and ensure that the system is installed in accordance with the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. The confusion that a contractor might experience regarding isolated ground systems often stems from their infrequent use compared to standard grounding practices. Therefore, clear and comprehensive communication is paramount. Explain the specific purpose of the isolated ground in the context of the sound system, emphasizing its role in minimizing noise and ensuring optimal audio quality. Provide a detailed schematic diagram that clearly illustrates the isolated ground path from the equipment grounding terminals to the isolated ground bus at the transformer. Highlight the key differences between the isolated ground and the regular equipment grounding system, emphasizing that the isolated ground conductor should not be connected to any other grounding conductors or metallic surfaces along its path. Clearly identify the components of the isolated ground system, such as the isolated ground receptacles, the isolated grounding conductor, and the grounding electrode conductor point. Explain the importance of using qualified personnel for the installation of the isolated ground system, as it requires specialized knowledge and attention to detail. Address any specific concerns or questions that the contractor may have, providing clear and concise answers supported by relevant documentation and code references. Emphasize the importance of thorough testing after installation to verify the effectiveness of the isolated ground system and identify any potential problems. By providing clear and comprehensive information and addressing any concerns that the contractor may have, you can ensure that the isolated ground system is installed correctly and effectively. This will help to minimize noise and interference in the sound system, resulting in a cleaner, more professional audio experience. Also, it's important to remember to have the contractor verify that the sound system is double insulated, which will provide another layer of safety against ground faults. Lastly, make sure the contractor confirms all equipment is properly bonded to the isolated ground system to ensure safety.